Welcome to the Money Talk Show. Today, we are cracking open a true blueprint of success. I mean, a text written over 80 years ago, Think and Grow Rich. It's a book that has guided some of the most, enduring figures in business and industry.
It's an incredible foundation.
Yeah.
And our mission today is really tailored for you, our listener. We've synthesized the core sources, the original text, modern analysis, critiques, to really pull out the principles that still hold up.
Absolutely. I mean, the author spent decades interviewing, more than 500 of the richest people of his time, people like Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford.
Right.
And he discovered something that should honestly shock anyone who thinks wealth is just about luck or, being in the right place. He found that wealth truly begins not in the bank account, but in the mind.
And that finding, it just fundamentally changes how we should approach finance. This isn't a conversation about stocks or bonds. Hill didn't study their portfolios. He studied their mental programming.
So our goal is to break down the principles of becoming the kind of person money flows to.
Exactly. It's a shortcut to understanding the internal mechanics of sustained success.
Okay, let's unpack this mental ignition process. The sources frame it as a formula, and the starting point for all of it is the first principle: desire. Now, we're not talking about a casual wish or some vague hope, which, let's be honest, is what most people have. We're talking about a burning desire, an emotional obsession, really.
That intensity is the absolute key differentiator. Hill found that the truly wealthy, they define their desire with this profound specificity. They know exactly how much they want, they have a definite timeline, and, this is crucial, they determine exactly what they will give in return for it.
That give in return part is fascinating. It sounds less like a wish you whisper to the universe and more like a contract you make with yourself. Are the sources suggesting that this is what gets them through the years of tough, unpaid work?
Precisely. If the desire isn't intense enough to motivate sacrifice, it's just a hobby. Money doesn't respond to need. It responds to clarity and intensity, backed by defined action. You could have all the talent in the world, but without that intense directed desire, your brain isn't even looking for the opportunities.
And that focused desire, it leads directly into the second core principle, which Hill's called faith. Now, for a modern listener, that term feels, loaded. How do we define faith in this context?
Yeah, we have to immediately strip away any religious meaning. In this framework, faith is just synonymous with mental certainty, unshakable self-belief. It's the ability to believe you will achieve the result, even when all the evidence around you says the opposite.
Oh, okay, but that's the challenge, right? How does someone actively build that certainty when their bank account, their current job, their past failures are all screaming at them that it's impossible?
That's where the practical application starts. It's through a process he calls autosuggestion. Your mind is like a garden. It accepts whatever seed you plant, whether it's true or false.
And most people are unknowingly planting weeds.
All the time. Constantly rehearsing these limiting beliefs like, oh, I'm bad with money, or success is for other people.
The default setting is so often negative, or maybe ambivalent at best. Our inner voice, it really runs our lives by shaping our confidence, influencing every decision we make.
Absolutely. So autosuggestion is the intentional, disciplined filtering of what you allow your mind to accept. If you constantly focus on fear, you create hesitation and you self-sabotage. But if you focus on confidence, you build momentum because you start seeing reality through that lens. Your outer world literally starts to reflect your inner script.
So the practice is really explicit then. Reading your goal, that burning desire statement out loud every day, visualizing it like it's already done. This isn't just fluffy affirmation. It sounds like you're programming the machine.
You're reprogramming the CPU. The aha moment here is that the subconscious controls all your habits and your comfort zones. If you don't program it intentionally, society and your environment, they'll program it for you. Poverty is a learned behavior, and the source material is very clear that wealth is too.
That's a powerful transition. Let's move from the purely mental stuff to the practical application, starting with specialized knowledge. This one really challenges the whole model of general education, doesn't it?
It does. The core message is that general knowledge, knowing a little about a lot of things, it doesn't create wealth. You have to know how to execute.
So we're taught to be smart in many areas, but you're saying the wealthy are strategically informed in just one area.
Wealth comes from specialized knowledge applied with action. Most of the successful people Hill studied weren't academic geniuses. They were just strategically informed experts. They found one valuable thing and learned it extremely well.
Like a specific coding language or mastering high-ticket sales or a niche investment strategy.
Exactly. Money doesn't reward the certificate on the wall. It rewards the useful, applicable skill. And that knowledge, it comes from experience, from mentors, self-study, and just practice. It's about utility.
And once you have that knowledge, you need a place to build the future, which is where imagination comes in. He calls it the true workshop of wealth.
Right, because everything that exists today, every company, all technology, it all started as just an idea in someone's head.
And he breaks this down into two types. You have creative imagination, which is, pure invention. But then there's synthetic imagination, which is maybe more common, where you're just combining existing ideas in new ways.
And that synthetic imagination is probably the greatest asset for anyone listening. It requires observation, not invention. The problem is, most people kill their ideas with doubt before they even start. They see a problem and say, that's impossible.
Whereas the wealthy ask, okay, how can this work?
What if we combine this with that? Money follows innovation, not safety.
But imagination and desire are just static energy without structure. This brings us to organized planning and the critical part. Decision. Desire is the fuel, imagination is the blueprint, but the plan, that's the construction timeline.
Right, and desire without a concrete plan is just fantasy.
It's just a dream.
And the source material is very forgiving here. The plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to exist, and you need to act on it. Wealth builders know the first plan might fail, but they adjust as they go. Indecision is the real enemy of progress.
This leads to maybe one of the most powerful observations in the whole book. Successful people make decisions quickly, and they change them slowly.
And the unsuccessful do the exact opposite. Just think about the massive energy drain that indecision creates. That constant loop of anxiety, the paralysis, the regret over missed opportunities while you were waiting for the perfect moment. Every major breakthrough starts with a clear, swift decision.
To commit, to start, to invest.
To pivot. Clarity creates momentum, not certainty.
Okay, let's look at the third stage, sustaining that success. Because starting is one thing, but staying on the path long enough to see results, that's another. The hidden separator here, even above talent, is persistence.
Talent is insufficient. Persistence is what determines the outcome when all else is equal. The most common point of failure is quitting just before the breakthrough. Every big ambition has what he calls a valley of temporary defeat.
And when those setbacks happen, a market crash, a failed product, most people see it as proof they should stop.
They see it as evidence of their unsuitability. But the wealthy perspective is fundamentally different. They treat temporary defeat as feedback, not as permanent failure. Persistence is a habit built by having that clear purpose and emotional control.
And crucially, no wealthy person gets there alone. We have to talk about the mastermind principle.
This is so much more than just networking. A mastermind is two or more minds working toward a shared goal, creating mutual accountability and, most importantly, shared intelligence.
So it's not just swapping business cards. The key is that shared intelligence. How does someone structure that? Are we talking a formal board or just having smarter people on speed dial?
It can be either formal or informal, but the intention has to be shared growth. Your environment absolutely shapes your thinking. If you're surrounded by fear and doubt, you absorb that. Surround yourself with determined, successful people, and you elevate your own perspective. Your income often reflects the average of the 5 people you listen to the most.
This feeds right back into the subconscious mind, which works 24/7, controlling all your automatic behavior.
Exactly. And it just amplifies whatever emotions you consistently feed it. If you're feeding it fear and self-doubt, it amplifies those reactions. You simply cannot build wealth while feeding your mind fear. It's about emotional discipline.
And Hill took this even further, believing the brain works like a receiver or a broadcasting station. Your dominant thoughts literally tune your perception.
A powerful analogy. If you tune your thoughts to opportunity and success, you literally start to notice opportunities you missed before. If you're tuned to threats and risks, that's all you'll see. It's why 2 people can look at the exact same situation, and one sees crippling risk while the other sees massive reward.
We should also touch on the 2 most nuanced principles that often get overlooked. First, the sixth sense.
The sixth sense, or intuition, is often seen as magic, but he defines it as trained instinct. It's that quiet voice that guides you when logic and knowledge run out. It isn't mystical. It's your subconscious processing years of observation and pattern recognition. It grows as you use the other principles.
And finally, the concept of sexual energy, which definitely needs careful handling for a modern audience. What's the core idea there?
Right. It's the most misunderstood principle. Hill saw this primal human drive as a highly creative resource. Most people let it drive distraction and instant gratification. His insight was that when you discipline that impulse, when you harness that intense drive, you can channel it directly into creativity, productivity, and ambition toward your main purpose.
So uncontrolled desire leads to consumption, but controlled, redirected desire becomes the engine for creation.
It's the disciplined power source. That transition is fundamental to high-level achievement.
So when we synthesize all these principles from that burning desire to the mastermind group, what's the biggest takeaway for the listener today?
The biggest truth in all the sources is that money isn't the goal. Money is the result. It's the result of clear thinking, emotional discipline, consistent action, and unwavering self-belief. It's an effect, not a cause.
Most people spend their entire lives chasing money without ever changing themselves. The wealthy, according to this blueprint, they prioritize changing themselves, their inner script, their habits, their perspective, and money follows as a natural consequence.
So if your outer world eventually reflects your inner script, as the principle of faith suggests, then what's the first belief, that immediate limiting thought you need to intentionally start reprogramming today? That's the question that shifts everything from just wishing to actually achieving.
It's the starting point for control. If you want more control over your finances, your mindset, and your future, subscribe to the Money Talk Show. Because money doesn't change your life, your thinking absolutely does.